I think I'm going to be sick. No, I definitely am. I lean against a nearby table, placing a hand to my mouth as bile stings against my throat, my stomach swaying like a ship in a storm. What's happening? I hear Farah whisper in my ear. I'm not sure I believe what I'm seeing enough to answer. They really got Eleanor? The two trappers drag the Fey nurse's slumped form forwards on the stage, letting his weight drag him onto his knees. His hands hang heavy before him, a circle of light dancing with strange symbols wrapped around him like a rope. His hair hangs limply over his shoulders, his head hung low so the locks almost pool against the waxed wood floor. He doesn't look up even when the trappers leave. His shoulders shudder beneath the muddied scrubs he wears, small tears ripped into the cloth from what must have been bindings tight enough to cause such damage. Small tears. My instinct is to rush forwards and call out, but I'm intensely aware of Cesaire's stare on me, burning into the side of my face, waiting to see what I'll do. And I realize with jolting clarity, this is a test. To see if I'm really part of all of this. She wants to observe how I deal with her selling someone I know so casually. I clench my fists at my sides to stem the rage which burns away the nausea. Ava, I realize how you must feel about this right now, Detective, but you will be risking more than his life if you compromise the mission now. Ava comments in my ear. Agent Langford has not yet given the signal that she's had a chance to save those in holding. Wait and we can rescue them all. She's right. I know she is, and the fact that she can logically think this way, considering the situation, is likely one reason why she's the commanding agent of Unit Bravo. But still. Hmm. Sure, we'll put on a mask with ease. I mean, it's easy to do that when you just have to click the option, isn't it? I swallow back a heated breath, not missing a beat as I swallow back my fury, making sure to force my body to relax. Looking at Cesare, I can see her disappointment at my cool reaction. I fold my arms. Shouldn't the bidding be on the way already? She sucks her lips in between her teeth, her mask not quite as good as mine had been. You're so right. So many people have been eager for this lot. I should get up there and get things rolling. She moves away with a swish of her dress in my direction, an irked kind of air adding a heaviness to her step. Mm, you did well. A deep rumble of a voice praises at my shoulder. I twist around to find Sin stood beside me, apparently not feeling the need to follow Cesare. What? Not many have the capacity to outmaneuver her. It's a rare pleasure to see it, he states with a smile across his lips, but the expression soon falls. But I would advise that you be happy with your win and do not try anything else. And just what else do you think I would do? He nods his head at the stage, and I can barely follow his gaze without my stomach twirling. Make an attempt to rescue him. My next question falls from me as I glance away from Elidor. Why not? I frown at him. Why are you trying to help me? Because it was never my wish to harm you, he replies, his voice hoarse with emotion, his brows drawn together. We both look around as the crowd's cacophony of voices begins to quiet down. The gavel twists in quick motions in Cesare's fingers as she twirls it, licking at her lips as though she can taste anticipation leaching from the people at her every attention. What's going on? Farah insists through the earpiece. There's a moment of shuffling before Nat asks, Has Rebecca not been in contact yet? She needs more time, Ava replies, her voice as stern as always. There's only a moment before that hammer drops and bidding begins, and I will have to make a decision on what to do. Maybe, just maybe, those few moments are enough to bring this Anunnaki to our side. As formidable allies go, I don't think there would be a better one. But all that he's done, my mind whirls with thoughts of Addy and all the other terrified people he's taken, all the damage he caused, all the pain. Do I even want someone who's done all those things to stand with us? Hmm. Yes, I do. The question is, uh, I don't know about the soul bond being too strong. I don't fully know how they work. Um, and whether there can even be such a thing as a stronger or a weaker soul bond. Maybe a soul bond is just a soul bond. There's no ifs or buts about it, all of similar standing. Russia. Okay, let me look at my stats. Hmm. I feel like trying to convince him is difficult. The question is, what would be our play with this? I'm assuming just to overwhelm him and to sort of get him to make a sort of a momentary decision that he might not be taking if he were to think about it more clearly. Hmm. But, hmm. Do we know how to break it? Do we know if it's even breakable? You know what? Sure. We'll go for it. Time is slipping through my fingers, the pulse of it beating a frantic rhythm through my nerves as I grasp Sin's arm. Your soul bond, I begin, instantly catching his full attention with the words. It's false. It's all been fabricated by Césaire. Stand with me and I'll help you break it. Jules, I hear in my ear as Ava barks my name. You cannot promise such a thing when we're not even sure of the truth in it. I ignore the comment and just hope Sin doesn't hear it. He looks down at me, his brows furrowed deep enough to cast shadows across his gaze. It's false. You know it is, I bluff, the desperation of each second that ticks away adding haste to my pleas. Sin falls silent, but his eyes shift away. He draws in a wobbled breath as though willing to believe the thoughts he'd held in check for some time. A sharp crack reverberates around the room and rattles down my spine before Césaire announces with chiming glee, Let the bidding begin! Sin's eyes narrow on her with a fury so hot I'm surprised the auctioneer doesn't combust. Sin is no longer my focus as the black paddles are thrust into the air, their golden numbers glinting viciously in the lamplight. Such huge sums of money are called out that I almost waver, but I push forwards through the back of the crowd, my heart thudding each time a new voice enters the fray. I pause in the middle of the greedy surge, my pulse an echo in my ears as I stare at Elidor. His head is sinking lower, as though each thread of hope keeping him upright is snapping at every bid made. Agent Langford hasn't given the signal yet, Ava reminds me, as though able to sense my desperation to do something, anything, rather than watch this nauseating spectacle. She needs to save the others before we move in. You need to get her time. Screw them. What about Elidor? You're just going to leave him to this while we wait? Oh, that's Farah. Screw them. What about Elidor? You're just going to leave him to this while we wait? Farah counters with a sharp tone. I'm not sure I've ever heard from her before. You could cause a distraction, Nat suggests. It would give Rebecca the time needed while also delaying the bidding. As long as it actually worked, Morgan scoffs. My gaze darts about the room and the people in search of something I could use as a diversion without bringing too much attention to myself. And then a hushed voice in my ear makes me pause. You got this, babe, Farah says through the earpiece, and I can hear the smile through the words. Thanks, Farah, I reply. Nerves had wrinkled through me before, but hearing her confidence in me, I'm amazed at the boost it gives. Suddenly, I'm awash with a wave of determination. But you'll still be careful, though, right? She asks. Can't be dealing without having you in my life now. You'd be fine without me, I reply, mostly to lift the odd tension that crackles between us. No, she states, I don't think I would. Not now I know what it's like to have your awesomeness in my life. I rub my hands together, unsure how to deal with that statement. It warms It warms every inch of me with the strength of a midday sun in summer, but it also sends a shiver of uncertainty through me, because I think I may feel just the exact same for her. So just be careful, and go save Elidor, she exclaims. The sudden enthusiasm in her voice breaks the heaviness her previous words left weighing over me. Right. I swing my gaze about once more, looking for the best way to do just that. You know what? This is what I was thinking of doing, just before even reading any of the options. But let me read if anything else seems more likely to do something. This would not really do anything, I don't think. Oh, ask for more information on the current lot to drag this out. Might be an interesting idea. Pull the plug on the microphone. You know what, actually? I think trying to outbid everyone to prolong the bidding is what makes the most sense. The thing is, with auctions, usually the bidding isn't, well, it's not really the longest part. The bidding is fairly short unless like people really think about it or, the auctioneer wants to make it long. Asking for information could certainly prolong it more than trying to outbid. The question is, would Césaire actually provide that information, or would you just be like, no, and continue on? That's I think the gamble we're gonna have to take. Pull the plug on a microphone. I don't think it's gonna do much, and it's fairly risky as well. I think one of these. I mean, technically, the game is not going to allow me to do that, but technically, we could do this first and then do this. There is nothing to stop us from doing both. So I will do this first, because logically we could do this after. I know the game's not going to allow me to do that, but logically we should be able to. I can't focus enough to think of anything around me that might cause an easy distraction, but I can think of something that should slow things down a little. Pressing myself through the mass of people and towards the stage, I look up at the auctioneer, who is still brimming with glee at the crowd's continued bidding. I call out, Is what you're selling really worth the sums of money you're offering? The bids stop instantly, all eyes swinging in my direction. But it's the auctioneer's narrowed stare that pierces into me with unyielding intensity. Why would it not be? She replies, plastering a smile over her sudden uncertainty as she sweeps an arm out to the stage. You of all people should know the worthiness of what's on offer here today. The wording once again makes my skin crawl with an itch I wish I could shake off, but I hold my ground and fold my arms. I do know. Then why aren't you bidding? Someone from the crowd calls. A triumphant smile spreads across my face at the perfect setup. Because I'm also well aware that the supernatural you're all so eager to claim is from the agency. I know you're new to this, so I suppose you might not realize, Cecilia says, leaning against the top of her podium and resting her chin in her palm. But that fact only adds to his value, it doesn't distract. A few murmurs of laughter start up around me until I speak again. Not for me. The agency stop at nothing to get their people back, and I've seen the consequences of what happens to those who have taken charge of their goods. My confidence almost wobbles on the word, but I manage to push it out, knowing it was the right call, as I notice more than one pair of eyes widen in realization. Trust me, it's not pretty. The mood of the room sinks, the chatter dropping away to a chorus of fearful mutterings. Césaire slams their gavel down like a judge demanding order. You've purchased agency lots before from me. Why doubt me now? Because you've never sold them from the same town they work in before, someone calls in reply. That's risky even for you. She stammers on a reply before forcing a calm mask across her stiff features, standing taller beneath the heat of the spotlight above her. Come now, friends. We're in the middle of bidding. You can't turn back now. But the continued tense lull of the crowd says otherwise. The auctioneer's sneer snaps to me, to which I only return a calm smile. Nicely done, Detective, Ava praises. Agent Langford has just sent the signal. We'll be there to back you up as soon as we're able. The crowd parts willingly as I make my way to the stage, stepping up onto the small platform as everyone's attention remains on me. It seems our guest of honor has something to say, Césaire announces over her microphone, only the slightest waver of concern to her voice. Hmm. Hmm. You know what? Sure, we'll do that. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, I comment before turning to the crowd, my hands in the air. I'm afraid I have to give my apologies, but tonight's event is well and truly over. The auctioneer scoffs. You're not the one in charge of this. No, but I am the one who's going to shut it down, I throw back with a smirk. Ugh, she groans with a roll of her eyes. Please don't tell me you're still with them. And here I thought I really might be able to convince you to my side. You'd never manage that, I throw back with certainty. She lets out a long breath, examining me closely while twirling the gavel in her grasp. Eventually, she throws the small hammer down onto the top of the podium and stalks towards me. And just how do you plan to do that? She folds her arms while cocking out one hip. You're all alone, and I've practically an army at my disposal. As if on cue, the doors to the room burst open in a shower of splinters that explode across the crowd. I barely flinch as I keep staring at Césaire with triumph. You shouldn't have held this at night. Most of the people huddled inside have fallen into crouches to avoid the explosion of wood, their arms covering their heads. A few shrieks still echo in the air. I smile over at the familiar figures now blocking the doorway. Unit Bravo stand, flanked by Unit Victor. Both teams look coiled in preparation. Fra steps forwards from the others, but stops when she spots me. Are you good? My smile grows. Better now. Next chapter.